Yeah. Let me drop exclusive game from my exclusive mind. You be out here chasing fame, I stay steady on my grind. Zero diamonds, zero.
Thank you for tapping into the Exclusive Minds podcast. Today we're going to be having an exclusive conversation with exclusive content from Exclusive Minds. I'm your host, Rook, and
Joe.
Let's get right into it.
Welcome back to episode 33. Yet again, we missed a week.
What's up, everybody?
I guess that 9 to 5's getting in the way, huh?
Yeah, man. I mean, to be honest, like, I was thinking about it on the way over here. I was like, what's the excuse going to be? You know what I mean? Like, on the way over here, like, yeah, we missed a week. But, I mean, for the record, I mean, we've overall been fairly consistent. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I could say that I don't know anyone besides, like, people who are, like, already established or have, like, a whole-ass production team that's, like, gone.
Well, yeah, they're actually making money doing
exactly,
it. Right? It's a
right,
job. It's their job, right?
Like, this is like a hobby,
yeah.
right? So
yeah.
think about that, right? 33 in, and this is a hobby. Haven't seen a cent from the stuff, right?
No,
so
not
I mean,
close
not
to
bad.
seeing a cent to it. So.
Well, yeah, we're actually in the other direction. I think they call that the negative. So
yeah,
you know what I mean. But anyhow,
I mean, honestly, we were pretty much rocking it right up until about June, and then holidays, vacations, your graduation, work.
That's kind of when it.
We're starting to hit like every.
We'll call that the resistance era, right there.
It was, it's okay. I mean, as long as we can every couple of weeks, we're good. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the biggest problem, especially for me right now, is just the inconsistency for like my job because of like it's obviously like orientation training era of this, so everything's just kind of all over the place. But once we get on a fair schedule or a set schedule, then it'll be good to go. We'll rock and roll and start to linquish and bang them out once a week.
Did you get your first paycheck yet?
I did. I'm almost on the second one, man. The second one's going to be the juice one. That's the bonus,
So you're liking Uncle Sam taking out all that coin?
Yeah, well, I'm contributing like 20% to my 401k.
Wow.
And they're matching 4%, so.
That shit's never bad, so.
No, not at all,
well,
man.
they won't match all the way up to that 20%. Usually it's like 6 to 8 or something like that.
So real quick, they match 4%. So they'll match out of that. So I did 16%.
They only match 4%?
And then every year they double it, or they add 2 points. So at the end of a 5-year run or 6-year run, the max they can contribute is 12%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like if I were to
all right, there's the difference.
Yeah, so like 4 years or 4%, not the best. 6%, getting better. 8, 9, or 10, and 12. That's when you start to see some serious gains.
Serious if they're matching that. Holy mackerel.
Yeah. And they also do something else where they automatically throw in like 10% to a fund that you won't get until you retire or something. So they're hooking it up relatively well. That's pretty dope.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Do you have a Roth 401k or just a regular?
I only had the regular. The Roth kind of came into existence sort of,
like the 80s, 90s.
Middle to later part of my life, working life. So, yeah, I never got into that.
It's pretty dope. It's like pre-taxed, so you don't have to it's taxed.
Yeah, they tax you now and then
you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. But
there's no.
That's the thing with the 401k. I thought, I don't know. I mean, certain states, if you retire in certain states, you don't pay the tax anyway. And I think Pennsylvania is actually one of those. I
don't know, but I know for a fact that what the selling point or a main selling point is just me thinking way down the line is like past the age of like 72 you have to make distributions or
you gotta take money out. My mom's there now, right?
Yeah, so. And if you don't, they penalize you for like a pretty hefty sum.
There's just so many. It's automatic though. I mean, they just pretty much in her plan, right, I think it's Prudential or somebody like that, they basically just cut her a check for the required minimum distribution. So she just every once in a while gets a check, and she's been smart enough to just use that to pay tax or property taxes and stuff like that.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I mean, like, I know it's one of those things. It's like, who's gonna have a problem spending money like when you're not working, right? But like, you just like, I don't know. I just don't want to get penalized for something like that.
Yeah, I mean, up until Brandon's time, she was doing pretty good with that whole thing too, right? She'd be getting distributions, and pretty much it wasn't going down. So
yeah, speaking of going down, I mean, gas is somewhat going down. I mean, you
wow.
noticed it?
This is oh Christ! You know what's going to happen, right? It's going down because we're heading towards the November elections, and the Democrats will be like, "Oh, we dropped the price of gasoline like 50%," and you'd be like, "Come on, seriously?"
I saw that
it went from what $5 freaking to $4.65, and we're supposed to be jumping up and down. I mean, come on.
What just happened with the
man?
What just happened with the with the barrel stuff? Didn't they just like purchase barrels or something like that?
They sold 1 million, or I don't know what the exact number was. I think it was 1 million barrels out of the strategic reserve to China.
Okay, so they sold the barrels in order to drop the gas price? Is that what's going on?
I don't know. I don't know how you sell oil to China and that drops the price of oil.
I have no idea what the hell's going on.
Yeah,
you know me, man. I'm very tapped out of that game. Like, and it's terrible to say that, but like the only time I catch the news, literally, is when I walk over to drive over to my girlfriend's house, go into her kitchen, and they always have the news on. So I'm like, while I'm making conversation, I'm occasionally looking over to it, and then it's like, I know this is like, sorry for saying this, it's like shootings, and then what's going on with that? I don't
know. It's such a double-edged sword, right? I mean, my thought on it is, one is I get it, right? Who the hell wants to listen to this bullshit, right? I don't even want to listen to it. But then at the same time, I'm like,
you have to do your due diligence.
I mean, that's the big problem, right?
Yeah.
All these people go out and just shoot their mouths off without any education on the actual issue.
Absolutely.
Right? And that drives me freaking bananas because, look, Republican, Democrat, whatever, right? The problem in this world right now is we can't have conversations, right? It's either my way or the highway.
Literally, yeah.
And the reality is, the reason for that is because nobody is educated on the issue, right? Yeah.
Or they're getting false representation. They're getting false representation, and a lot of people from my generation, I feel like, I'm gonna be honest. Oh, I guess I probably shouldn't say that, but a lot of people from my generation, they just kind of go based off of what their parents picked, and then they'll just rock with that their whole life. Sure, that's fine. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do. But if you're gonna have like a strong opinion on it, like you said, at least like study up on it, know both sides of the spectrum, because if you're only watching CNN or Fox or
one or the other,
you know what I mean, they're gonna give you swayed viewpoints, you know what I mean? So
for sure, yeah.
I don't know, that's
this is a rat hole.
We're
turned into a rat hole.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's my thing is, look, I think that everybody if you're gonna have a conversation about a subject, that you be educated on it, right? Mm-hmm. At least know something about it. Don't just make blind statements that you don't even know if you can back up. I mean, that's the shit that drives people crazy.
Yeah, no, like I'll hear like a headline, and I'm you know me, I'm not the type to sit there and be like, oh, I just heard we sold the barrels, and then make a strong statement. I'm like, what the hell happened with this, and like, how does that affect everything? It's not where I'm trying to take a stance or a viewpoint.
Yeah, look, and I don't know all the backgrounds on that, just because I haven't been watching the news late. I mean, ever since I went to Disney, I have not been watching TV at all. And
well, there's nothing on TV.
News.
Or
I used to watch
or anything
news all the time, right? But yeah, it's nice to get a reprieve from it. But I still, I check the internet and stuff like that to try and just keep up with current affairs. But whatever.
Oh, fair enough. I guess while we're on the topic of upper echelon politicians, all that type of jazz. I mean, this isn't really a politician, but our boy Elon Musk has quite a bit of drama in the news.
Oh, man, yeah. That dude is just...
Well, this one, I'm not even going to talk about the stuff with the...
Twitter?
The Twitter.
You going to talk about his kids?
Not his kids, his dad's.
Oh, I heard that. Holy shit, his old man is like banging out. He's like 90 years old or something.
They're trying to populate Mars, they said, man.
Yeah, so, but it's with his like stepsister or some shit?
His stepdaughter, I believe, or something.
No, it wasn't daughter. Let's not get
okay, so I have the story.
Sister.
The Musk patriarch, 76, welcomed the baby girl, Jana, 35, back in 2019, but only confirmed the news Wednesday, bragging to the son, the only thing we are on Earth is to reproduce. And then they just kind of mentioned that they had a 5-year-old boy, Elliot Rush, born in 2017. Kind of going through this briefly. I think you might be right. It might be his stepdaughter or stepsister, right?
I didn't look, I didn't really read into it, but it wasn't creepy like daughter kind of thing. It was like stepsister. Yeah. Which in itself, I guess, could be creepy. But
he said, any man...
Well, the fact that the dude has got to... How old is he?
He's 76.
Okay, well, that's just... I can't even imagine, man. I'm 56, and I want to get rid of my kids as fast as I can. Right?
I guess when you have, like, that type of money, you could just hire, every nanny under the sun.
They're not really doing anything, sure. I get that.
But yeah, Elon Musk has fathered 10 offspring.
Yeah, he just had twins.
After the twins, yeah.
I mean... The crazy thing with that story was he They just had a surrogate with the crazy chick, not the crazy chick. The chick with the funny name. What the hell's her name?
I have no idea. I'm terrible at keeping up with names.
The one that they named the kid.
Grimes.
Grimes.
Yes. Sorry.
They just had a surrogate, right?
Yeah.
That they had already separated, but I guess they were in process with the surrogate, so they went through with it.
Oh, and so he had another kid with her?
And then he had twins with this executive from one of his companies. I don't know if it was Starlink or one of those.
I do not know.
But it was just insane. I'm like, oh, what the? It was just one of those things where he's having like a surrogate with one woman at the exact same time he's having twins with another. I'm like, what the? What?
Like, I have multiple takes on that. Like the first thing, like if I'm in his shoes and you kind of have someone maybe at work that you're kind of connecting with, but it depends if you're first in a relationship because I don't know the timeline of all this. And then the second,
I don't either.
Is there something going on with HR? Like, is that a violation? Like, you can't like go with coworkers if you're like the CEO or something like that. So, I mean, like, I get it if you're, at work, you're single, you're, whatever, and you kind of have a connection with someone, and then it goes further from there. But if it's like interrupting with his prior or previous relationships, then that's actually a problem, and I could see why he's getting so much backlash. Like I said, I don't know the timeline or anything like that, so I can't really speak too much on it.
I don't. Well, I mean, I don't know how that whole. It's just a wild dynamic. I mean, it kind of blows my mind when I sort of think about it. But yeah,
yeah. I mean, once you're at the top, man. I mean, so this next story kind of goes into the top people as well. It's the headlines: Bill Gates is tired of being rich, and he said in quotes, "As I look to the future, I plan to give virtually all of my wealth to the foundation. I will move down."
He's been saying that forever.
I'll move down and eventually off the list of the world's richest people. I have an obligation to return my resources to societies in ways that have the greatest impact in reducing suffering and improving lives. And I hope others in the position of great wealth and privilege will step up and do the movement too.
Here's the thing that is just that statement is such a load of bullshit, and I'll tell you why.
Go
right?
ahead.
He's giving all of his money to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
It's still his foundation,
right? So it's still. I mean, it's just like, okay, I got $100 billion that I can't physically spend it fast enough, right? I can only own so many houses and shit like that. So, gee, let me give all my money away, be altruistic, put a statement out saying I'm the greatest guy in the world because I'm looking out for the people, and then give it to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
I honestly always got weird vibes from.
That's not giving up your money.
I always got weird vibes from Bill Gates.
Oh, and by the way, I'm sure his kids all have lifetime jobs at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that
they
pay
probably
them
don't even need jobs.
Yeah, come on,
they don't need jobs. They got trust funds.
It's so self-freaking-serving. Man.
I agree. Like I said, I kind of always got like a weird taste in my mouth with him because like I hear some like the weird stuff that kind of happens perhaps behind this. I don't know. I just kind of get weird things from him. But I mean, everything from I guess like he's like Microsoft, right? Bill Gates, Microsoft. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The only thing Microsoft that I have is my computer. Right?
No, your computer is probably not Microsoft. Your OS is.
Yeah, my OS is my. Right? Yeah. Windows is Microsoft, not my computer parts.
Well, you
like
use
that.
Excel, Word, and PowerPoint.
Yeah.
I mean, that's de facto whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Anyhow, off that conversation, I don't know. Do you have any closing thoughts on Bill Gates, or is that?
Look, I've always been an Apple guy, so even back in the day, I never liked Microsoft or Bill Gates. So I'm venting, but I mean, it's so self-serving. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, while we're on the topic of, I guess this is the last like closing out point of like kind of like traditional media news is the.
No, we got a couple other things, but go ahead.
Okay, and my notes. The crypto stuff with everything going on. I know we kind of.
I sold my Manny yesterday. Not yesterday.
Did you?
2 days ago. Yeah, I had to.
Good point. Good time, I guess. In the grand
Good
scheme of
time.
things.
I lost 75% of my money. Yeah,
So
great time.
So listen, right? There was a mini bounce back. As you guys know, I'm invested in quant. We saw resistance that's between like 70 and 75, and then just over the, I don't know, call it the late week, we saw it hit 105. So, I mean, this isn't nothing we haven't seen before.
Here's the
I
crazy
think it's going to go
so
back down.
75 to 105, that's like a 25-30% bump.
Yeah, but
and you still are down
67%. I dollar cost averaged a lot of it, so it's not as bad. But yeah, like you said, from my initial like 300 hole, yeah, definitely.
Because it was funny when I basically needed Noah needed some Bitcoin, and I'm going to rant about this because Coinbase just completely sucks.
Coinbase does suck. Go ahead.
So anyway,
keep all your stuff off of exchanges. Go to cold storage.
So I mean, here's the biggest issue with freaking crypto, and I know we haven't talked about crypto in a while, and some people don't care, but I mean, let me vent because this is just fresh on my mind. So, I mean, it was Saturday or whatever. Noah comes in and says, I need $50 in Bitcoin because I want to buy a bunch of shit on Roblox, right? And you know, part of that's because I don't want to give him my credit card or my PayPal account because, you know, I just, you know,
Well,
so
yeah, I agree. I get that.
He's got a Bitcoin wallet and he can buy shit. So every once in a while he'll come to me and say, hey, can you transfer me some Bitcoin? So the way I typically transfer Bitcoin is I would go on Coinbase, I would buy Bitcoin, and I have an account, right? I buy Bitcoin and then I would just transfer it to his wallet. Simple, easy peasy when it works. Now the problem is, right, this is actually Friday, right? So the markets were still open. It wasn't like it was, you know, Sunday at midnight, right? It was
I mean, the crypto
during
market's
the day,
always open.
and I get this message saying, sorry, we're having a problem with the connection. Retry.
Oh, yeah.
You know, everything else works. I can see my thing. I actually could transfer shit. I could do all kinds of. I just couldn't buy or sell.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, maybe it's just their system. Shit happens, right? So I wait a couple hours. I get back on. Same exact freaking thing. I'm like, what the hell's the deal? Right? I said, hey, no, I can't get on. He says, oh, it sounds like their system's down. That's supposed to be back up at 7 at night. So, all right, fine. We eat dinner, go back. Doesn't work.
Yeah.
Saturday, doesn't work.
Did you
This
check your
morning,
assets?
Doesn't work. My assets are all fine, right?
Dude, my assets don't work when that pops up. It comes up with the gear wheel. You can't see any of your things.
So, I mean, I can see everything. And I'll take it a step further, right? So I have literally like 30, what was it? It was like $39 in mana, right? Because I bought 100, right? And it crashed. I had like $35, right? I lost 65% of my money. So I could convert the mana into Bitcoin and I could transfer that Bitcoin to Noah's account.
So you just
I did all
any,
that.
yeah, okay.
I couldn't buy and I couldn't sell.
Yeah, it's
and I'm
strange.
like, this went on all weekend. So I get online and I'm like just saying Coinbase system down or buying thing. There are like threads that are like the last, I don't know, 2 years about how Coinbase does this shit all the time where they just basically lock you out of being able to transact business. And I'm like, okay, well, here's a big problem. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me go look at Cash App and Venmo, which are more mainstream.
They're working?
And it's weird, right? You can buy Bitcoin. Like I could go on Cash App and I can buy Bitcoin and I can send you the Bitcoin through Cash App. The problem is you can only go like to an email. You can't send it to a one of those 26-digit wallets. So I'm like, oh, this is such a pain in the crypto is such a pain in the ass.
So with crypto, with Cash App, real quick, because I always see it on there, but I never do it.
Yeah,
so
basically-
you could send it, so you could buy it on Cash App, and then you could transfer it to another Cash App account or another. Can you send it to like my wallet? Like I have like a wallet
so I
off
didn't
the
actually
grid.
execute that, but what it says is like, you know how when you get on Cash App, it comes up and it just says how much money do you want to send in USD. You click on the USD, it'll actually say BTC.
Okay.
And it goes, you don't have this. Would you like to buy Bitcoin? And I didn't go through this process, but you can basically buy Bitcoin through Cash App, and then you can, just like you could send cash to somebody with an email address or an at account or a number account in Cash App, you can do the same thing with Bitcoin. You can just, instead of sending them cash, you can send them Bitcoin. Now I don't know how that.
Yeah, I never tried it.
I don't know how. I mean, I'm guessing that Cash App has a wallet that for you in the behind the scenes you don't actually see or something. But but I couldn't send it to Noah's alphanumeric code, and I'm like, I was like, this is the reason why freaking it's so frustrating with this crypto is because you just can't move the shit around easily. It's just a pain in the ass.
I mean, this is kind of off topic to what you're saying, but recently I just kind of been taking, I guess, buying and leveraging like crypto in general more serious. I know like you're like, oh wow, now you're starting to take it serious, but now that the market's down, it's like a good time to
look. I am going to tell you point blank. I think if you buy anything outside of Bitcoin, you're a fucking idiot.
Okay, and that's fair, but this is not the point of the conversation. The point of the conversation is
you're an idiot.
The point of the conversation is take all of your what's it called? Your assets, whether it be Bitcoin or something less mainstream, and transfer that to a digital ledger. Now, we're not financial advisors. I mean, close, but not really quite there yet. They're off the grid, like kind of like cold wallets. They're called. Basically, if they were to if Coinbase, God forbid, were to go to like bankruptcy or whatever, they could take all your money that's on their what's that called? On their platform. So you're gonna lose all your money. Basically, same thing. I'm assuming with Cash App. Like I said, I really don't know too much, but if they go bankrupt or something were to happen where they got like a global hack or something like that, it's not safe. So if you send it to a little ledger, which is like a flash drive you plug in. It's cold storage. It stays in there, and you can plug it in, and they give you a seed phrase to log in, and you can do everything from there. So that's my word of advice, tip of the day.
Yeah, but isn't
It's
that what that
$60.
Russian dude did who had like $1 trillion worth of that shit? And
What do you do?
the early on, this guy had like whatever it was, 1 million bitcoins. It's now worth like $880 billion.
Yeah, he lost his seed phrase.
Yeah, he had it on a cold storage thumb drive and threw it in the trash.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you... Yeah, don't throw it in the trash. I know of a guy that lost his seed phrase. He had the storage, but he couldn't get into it.
Well, that was the other thing, right? And you only have 10 attempts before it like nukes it or some shit.
And then it bombs it and you're done. So
and he was like through 9, and he was like, yeah, okay, this, yeah. And it was hundreds of millions of dollars that he just couldn't. I mean,
so that's okay. That's obviously human error, right? Like, don't do any of that stuff.
Life is all about that shit.
Yeah. So that's it. I would just say move all of your assets. If you're taking it serious to a cold storage, if you have a couple $100, then you're fine. But if you have, getting into thousands and whatever, move it to cold storage and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, and Coinbase. This just reminded me. Sorry. Coinbase opened a NFT program or something like that in their division or whatever. It's like a separate app, but they're only doing like 4 ETH volume per day. As a company as huge as Coinbase is, they're doing such minuscule amounts of volume, and that might be just due to like the NFTs crashing, but still 4 ETH. I mean, ETH's only at 1,000.
So they're only doing $4,000 worth of transactions a day?
Literally.
No, that can't be right.
Look it up. And on top of that, OpenSea, where all the NFTs are, they're actually, I heard, laying off employees that are there, maybe doing some cutbacks for more development.
It doesn't surprise me because, again, I think that whole scam thing's eventually catching up with them. So people don't trust it. Even guys your age that were heavily into it, I think, are starting to lose faith in.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I mean, the only, like I said,
it's a pump and dump. The whole thing is just
the only thing that I was really preaching 2 weeks ago or a couple months ago was the whole thing about utility. If there's utility behind something, you treat it as a what do you call that? A season pass or something. That's what's going to matter, right? These profile pictures of X, Y, and Z, snakes, elephants, giraffes, whatever, going to be useless.
So have the Bored Ape Yacht things held up, or they're
doing their thing. I mean, they had a event a couple days ago and everything's been fine, but I don't know. They're at I saw the transaction the other day. It was over a couple $1 million, maybe $2.2 million for one of their for their apes. So
freaking crazy.
The market is definitely not where it was back in what? I don't know.
Just a year ago.
Yeah, I mean a year ago at this point. But that's about it. Sorry for the exaggerated crypto talk, NFT talk. You know how that goes.
No, it's cool. And then so I saw that Jake Paul and Tommy Fury is off.
I was just about to say that.
Jesus Christ.
Well, no. So actually,
what a surprise.
Did you look up the guy Hassan at all?
The dude he's now fighting?
The dude he's now fighting.
I didn't look him up, but he's like he's blood for some dude who knocked Lennox Lewis out. So
yeah. So basically, Mikey Cap. He calls me. He's like, this guy Hassan. He's not Tommy, but he's the real deal. I'm like, what do you mean?
I get that he's a boxer. Yeah.
So he basically what he told me, and this is in his quotes, is he has over 100 amateur fights. He's I think 14-1, and has 6 professional knockouts, I think, and only 1 loss from a TKO, or 12-1. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, believe me, I know he's
he's the real deal. I think he just came off of a loss though, which was his 1 loss, and then this is kind of like his comeback. So this is a big fight for both fighters. Like if he loses to Jake, I mean, you're on a 2-L streak, losing to like the YouTube guy, it's not a good look. Then Jake, I mean, obviously first attempt at a boxer. What this means for him, you don't know. But I got to give Jake props.
They were sparring partners, though, right?
They were.
Understand. So
yes.
I'm assuming that Jake's got some sort of comfort level that he's got a shot against this guy, right?
Yeah,
it's not going to be a complete.
That's who he was training with, I think, during the whole Woodley camp, the first one, I think, and then they kind of went their separate ways. But did you see the stuff that Jake did with Conor McGregor? He was like basically throwing all these shots at him, and he said like, "This was my 4th pro fight. This was your 4th pro fight." And like Conor's 4th pro fight, there was like maybe like 5 people in the crowd or something like that.
Oh.
And then he was kind of like going through all the numbers.
He was ragging on Tyson Fury too, that he was like scared to fight Anthony Joshua, which is just a joke, right?
Yeah, I mean, no, Tyson Fury, man, he's undisputed, right? And then
Did you say he's gonna?
What?
The rumor is he's going to fight the Mountain.
No way.
I swear to God, I just saw it on something. I don't know if it's going to be an official boxing fight because apparently the Mountain's. I guess he's trying to box. So I don't know if it's an exhibition fight.
Now the Mountain, if you got hit by that dude,
well, yeah.
even I don't care how big you are, like he's some real deal. Like
I saw a picture of him though. He's definitely thinned out. I mean,
has he?
Yeah, I mean, you can see that he. I mean, I guess apparently he's been trying to box. And you can see that he's not carrying around the same kind of
like
mass.
Game of Thrones.
I mean, he's
right?
still a big dude, right?
Yeah.
He's definitely thinned out. But I saw that. I just saw it. Where did I see it?
That'll be a good. I like not boxing wise, but a good size matchup, right? Because they're two huge guys. Yeah. Tyson incredibly skilled at boxing. I mean, the Mountain I could imagine has insane knockout power if he even touches him one time, right? I mean, I don't know. To be fair, I couldn't say that because I saw Wilder give Tyson a good shot. He got back up, so you really don't know with that guy.
And they were I saw an interview with Fury, and he was talking about that when he got knocked out and sort of did the Undertaker thing, and he basically even admitted that he goes, I don't remember any of it. It was just if you ask me about it, I don't quite remember any of it. I'm like, damn.
I don't know. I still think Wilder's a really great boxer. I mean,
well, we're gonna find out. He's coming back.
Is he coming back? Good,
yeah,
good.
He's talking about fighting. Is he talking about fighting the winner? Well, I mean, I don't know. But he's coming back. He's going to fight.
Good.
He's fighting somebody.
I'm glad to hear that because he is a really incredible boxer, and there was obviously a huge weight difference between the two. I mean, you could see it, and I mean, I know that only goes so far in some people's minds, but he's really sharp boxer. So give him his credit.
Let's face facts. He gave him a run for the money, man. So those were good fights.
Yesterday, Ryan Garcia fought Javier Fortuna, the former former champ, former whatever champ. There's so many divisions in boxing. I honestly don't even know. But he did prove that he was not all hype, so that was pretty cool. I mean, a lot of people were speculating like Ryan Garcia being, I guess, the social media kid, the kid that came up with the internet, as we talked about before with Mikey. He's what is it now? Gen Z. He's like kind of like encapsulating in that whole thing. I mean, he's only like 21 years old, so he beat him. He beat him in the 6th round. I don't know.
Yeah,
it was a technical knockout.
Doesn't mean you don't have skills.
Exactly right, and so, we're starting to see that. Now he called out Tank, so that'll be a good matchup. I don't know if Tank's going to accept it. I mean, we've been seeing that. He's only called out Tank. Tank hasn't responded or said anything, but it'll be interesting to see. And if he were to beat him, like that would be like, what are people going to say at that point? Like, I mean, that'd be an insane matchup.
Yeah. So I was listening to. It's really interesting. I was listening to the Full Send podcast and a couple notes. So the first thing is their production value is awful.
Really?
Like I mean, that's a huge ass podcast, right?
I saw that. I saw the one
their
with
following base is huge, and their production value is trash. It's like ours. I swear to Christ, I could edit their podcast. I mean, they basically do the same thing we do. You can tell it's freeform. They just start rolling.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And have a conversation, but they'll drop a freaking ad like mid-conversation. All of a sudden, it stops and there's an ad, and then they go right back into it with that. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And half the times, like guys are walking away from the microphone, and then it comes back in, and then you're like, and I'm like, these guys are professionals.
No,
they make millions of dollars. What's the deal here, man?
No, I agree. I saw the one with Mark Cuban, and I kind of felt like what do you call it? I mean, I know we don't. What's the word? Their topics, I feel like, just lack substance. If that makes sense. Like I feel like the kid Bradley Martin, he does have, or not a kid, he's older than me, but he has a lot of great topics and talking points, but I don't know, I just felt for that one.
I mean,
the other guys were just kind of lacking.
I mean, I think they're very skilled at being social chameleons, meaning, right? And I've always, people always ask me, but I'm a social chameleon, right? I talk to a lot of different people, and you just kind of listen, and then you sort of pick up on a vibe, and you kind of just
rock out with it.
Yeah, right. And those guys, I think, are really good at that because if they're talking to rappers, it's all it's all freaking weed and who I nailed and L.A. and Miami, and then they talk to Cuban and it's business, and it's like you can see that they morph the conversation for whoever they're talking to.
Yeah,
they do it pretty good.
I like that. I do
kinda
enjoy
listen
that.
to it, but
Yeah, but I agree with what you said. You got to be able to do that. But how many times, like, I get you have to make them feel comfortable, right? If we had a rapper come on here, we talk about that, the stereotypical stuff. But at the same time, like,
yeah,
that's
there's no
kind of
cutting
all.
edge to
There's
it.
like surface level
It's
stuff.
it's very, you kind of know what you're going to get, right?
And that's kind of like the whole thing that happened with Carol Baskin when we had her on. We kind of knew what she was going to say. I feel like we didn't, like, I guess, since that was our first, like, mainstream guest, we didn't want to, like, take any, like,
it wasn't even that. I mean,
Hail Mary passes to her.
I think we intentionally just. I mean, look, obviously that was, it was an interesting conversation, but we intentionally didn't focus on the shit that everybody was talking about,
Yeah.
right? We wanted to talk about the NFTs and stuff that is just non-typical, right?
We did have that.
So,
we did have that.
I mean,
aspect.
the conversation itself
did
may
forget
have
about
gone
that.
as we expected, but we focused that entire 45 minutes on a topic that had really
Kind of off the beaten
that
path.
It was so off the beaten path for her, what everybody wants to talk to her about, right?
Yeah.
We didn't bring up any of the Tiger King,
and that's
shit.
kind of what I'm saying, right? Like you talk to people and you kind of know, like, there's going to be a niche. You talk to Mark Cuban, you kind of know it's going to be business. You're going to ask him, "What's your biggest Shark Tank deal?" Or you're going to ask him
they
kind
asked
of
all
that
stuff.
it's kind of like
Yeah.
a what do you call that? Like a lob and then a swing, but. When you kind of have someone like that,
Well, you
and you're at
have
that
to.
stage, you have to kind of go
Right.
like,
you can't alienate and piss people off because then it's like, I'm not doing this freaking guy. You'll end up,
Yeah.
and we'll get
I'm not,
out.
no,
and,
yeah, I'm not saying to make the guest feel uncomfortable. Just like go down a different direction. Like what I found really interesting about that whole thing was that pharmaceutical business that Mark Cuban had. That was fantastic. That made me have so much more insight. Like even just the name, like Cost Plus Drugs, not a paid advertisement. Obviously, shouldn't have to say that, but like you go to the website and it's literally all of the cheap pharmaceutical products. Like they should have spent more time focused on that than kind of like going down that path. Obviously, they have to get some clicks and everything, but neither here nor there.
and then I guess the week before, they interviewed the Liver King.
Yes.
So it was so funny. I mean, I have no real game with the whole Liver King, right? It was because we tried. So after we got Carol,
we messaged Liver King before like he was at like 1 million followers. We messaged him when he was at like a couple hundred K.
I went back and looked for the email because I was like, didn't this effing guy tell us that he doesn't do podcasts? It's not his thing.
And then all of a sudden,
I went back and I looked for the email, and I found the email, but it just basically says we're not doing podcasts right now, right? So in fairness, it did say like, we're not doing podcasts, but I was like, son of a bitch, man! Like we wanted that guy on. I got the email string and everything. Where we said, hey, we'd love to interview you.
And I spent some time crafting that email.
Late
I felt
last year, right before and I heard him on Liver King, and I'm like, I heard the Liver King on the full send. I was like, son of a bitch,
yeah, bro,
that was our idea. We stole it.
And then they gave him that what's it called, that tennis chain? Like that was crazy.
That guy's a nut.
Yeah, dude, he's definitely a product of what you believe in. Like he definitely stands on everything that well, to a certain point. My only issue is, and Liver King, I would love to have you on, right?
Like day to day without his shirt on and just ripping it out. I'm like, oh come on.
So this guy obviously is a multi-millionaire, right? Like you could tell just by his house and everything. He has.
How does he make money though? Does he have? I don't even know. Does he have like supplements and stuff?
Supplements. He sells like Liver King or liver capsules. So for the guys that can't go to like their butcher and buy liver, you buy capsules.
Like cubes or yeah.
And that's how he makes it. But my only issue with the Liver King is he does everything right. He works out, he eats, he does all that. He follows the what do they call that? The ancestral tendons or whatever.
Yeah.
But he lives in like a multi-million-dollar home. And like granted, like I know you got to live in luxury if you're making all this money. Work hard, play hard. Get it. But then to like sleep on like a board of like a 2x4. So it's like where's like you have this multi-million-dollar house, but then you're gonna sleep on a piece of cardboard or something. Like what the hell's going on here?
I don't know.
I have a question for you. This is kind of like I guess the origin of the podcast here. Do you not text or call people based on like the time? Now break that down into call versus text, because I noticed that my girlfriend's parents, they wouldn't send a text message to someone if it's like after like 9 o'clock. They're like, this is kind of like, I don't want to disrupt them during sleep or something like that. Because me personally, I'm letting it fly, right? Like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, don't care. 11 o'clock, sending it, don't care.
So I will.
I get that for call, but not for text.
I won't call anybody after a certain hour. I don't know what that certain hour is. It kind of depends on the person, right? I mean, I can probably call you at 10 o'clock and you'll be around, right?
For sure.
I can't call,
A work colleague.
Something, right? Yeah. I'll email anybody, anytime, anywhere, right? I mean, that's always just a no-brainer. Texting. So I think I was kind of that old school mentality, but that's softened, and I will text people at all kinds of crazy hours because, most phones nowadays have the silent feature anyway. Yeah. So if they don't want to be bothered, they're not going to be bothered, and that's on them more so than me if I'm texting them at midnight or something like that. But, I won't text super late coworkers.
That's fair. I mean, my whole thing is like you said, I feel like a text message is less invasive. Like I could send a text message. Well, that was
always the thing with you and I, right? You would be sending me texts at like 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then I would in turn.
That's when all the motivation flows come in.
6:30 a.m. or 7 o'clock a.m.
That's when the motivation's coming in, man. Like you're laying in bed, you're like, dude, I got to do some push-ups right now.
So like the two of us are asleep, right? I'm asleep on your end, and you're asleep on my end. So it's not disruptive. So I don't know. I don't.
All right, and then how are we doing on time, by the way?
30-something minutes.
Okay, perfect.
So
all right,
we're rocking.
All right, and then I have a question for you because you obviously have been in the business world and obviously understand the business lingo and everything a lot longer than I have. So I was writing an email, not to a coworker, just kind of an email out to, just a business individual that's not part of the company, and there's a lot of information that you have to write in the email. Like for what I was trying to do, it was like...
You're trying to sell them?
Try to sell them on something, okay? A lot of information, right? Like you have one topic over here, one topic over here, and one topic over here. There's a lot going on. Like you have to pitch them, but also contain all this information. And what's the best way to go about that, right? Because you have so much information that like you have to include all, because do you dissect that? Like do you send one that has one piece? Do you send it that has two pieces missing the third piece? Then when they respond, you kind of include it at the end.
Wow, how do I answer this question? So is this a cold email? Like
yes, completely cold.
I don't know how you do it, to be honest with you, and I've been doing this for a long time, right? There's no secret sauce because that shit just goes right into most people's garbage cans. Mm-hmm. They won't read it. So you invest a lot of time, I think, crafting an email, and unless it's a cookie-cutter email that you're sending out to a bunch of people, you almost, half the times you're going to feel like you're wasting your time. Like you're investing all this time trying to get this message across.
Yeah.
So I would actually shorten it and cherry pick some of the real key points and I don't know what the end game is, right? I mean, if you're trying to get that person on the phone to actually have a conversation with them, you almost want to shorten it and you want to humanize it and just try and say, hey, whatever. I know there is just no answer for that.
That's what I'm saying, because when you have it and you're trying to message someone who's definitely of like a higher status in that business world, and you're you
have to put yourself into the receiving end, and then think about that, right?
Yeah.
If you saw this gigantic ass email from someone you don't know, what is your first thing? You're going to delete it, right? So a lot of these cold calling things have moved towards having some tagline that just is catchy, that at least gets the person to kind of say, well, let me read the first line or two. But you got to get your point across literally in the first couple lines.
No, for sure. I mean,
there has to be a call to action, and that call to action typically is, can we have a conversation? Can I talk to you? Can you want to learn a little bit more about X, Y, and Z? And here's why I think X. You build from there, but you need to set the action item early on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so basically, I said
you couldn't
all
pay
three
me to do that shit though.
I said all three things. Like I just kind of mentioned it all, and I obviously went into detail with more of the important stuff, and the response I got was, quote unquote, what exactly are you asking? Sorry, can you plain text tell me what you're looking to accomplish?
That's a guy who's looking for a one-line sentence. They don't want to read. Nobody wants to read.
And then I kind of broke it down further, just like I said, I knew this was a lot, whatever. And I kind of broke it down into like the highlight point, because something that I obviously said out of those three talking points caught his attention, or else he would, like you said, just delete it. Because there's a lot going on. The company that you work for obviously has cachet, which helps, right?
If you get a cold email from that particular company, if you're in the financial space, right, you know the name, right? So it's not like XYZ Financials trying to sell you a penny stock, right? That's a legit company. So you've got that going for you. But goddamn, cold calling, emailing is such a pain in the ass. And I mean, luckily, I'm at the point where I don't really necessarily need to do it. I mean, occasionally I'm trying to recruit new partners and stuff like that, and I do kind of that. And the reality is if you the more time you invest in writing the email and trying to cram as much information into it as you can, it actually backfires on you because people don't have the attention span to listen to it. So you got to do it in a paragraph, and there has to just be basically, here's a couple of hit points that are high value, and hey, can we have a conversation and go a little deeper into this? And that's the call to action, right? You want to get that person on the phone and humanize the conversation. And it's not easy, man. No, not easy.
No, I agree. That's
I mean, there are literally companies
that'll handle that for
you. Most of these companies, like, it's interesting because a lot of companies won't actually invest in salespeople to cold call. They'll actually outsource to these companies, and they'll give them a script. And they'll basically just pay them, and they'll either pay them for number of meetings that they get scheduled, or hits that lead back to some sort of lead generation. But they won't even invest it in their own personnel to do cold calling because it's such an art, man.
Yeah, no, you have to, like you said, like, especially in today's day and age, like, think about TikTok. Like, if you don't find 3 seconds of a video interesting, go to the next one. You know what I mean?
So it's the same thing. I'll tell you though that a couple of the guys that I work with who are now like outbound salespeople and are super, super, super good at it, came out of college and went right into sort of a inside sales role where they were on the phones or they were dialing for dollars and doing emails, and they are some of the sharpest dudes. So if you actually can master the skill of kind of figuring out what people want to talk about and getting that engagement level, I mean, some of the best salespeople I work with got started doing that shit, but it is not easy.
Like you said, you're gonna have to be what'd you say, a chameleon,
social chameleon.
Exactly, it's the same exact thing, except one thing's not interviewing someone, you're trying to sell something, and you have to kind of understand the mentality of the person you're talking to. Is this someone that's older than me who's gonna kind of shut down an idea of, I don't know, something riskier or something, anything. You're right. It's like a specific thing. But
I always, what do I always tell people? Because I mean, it's funny. I say that social chameleon thing, and that's what I always call myself. Because what's your job? I'm a social chameleon.
You have
and it's legit. But I mean, but the challenge with being a social chameleon is I am a master of nothing.
Oh, jack of what is it?
But I mean, I can talk about anything, right? You give me a topic, and I can probably have a conversation and sound somewhat educated. Going back to the whole, be educated on your conversations, right? Just because I mean, it's such a diverse and depth portfolio, but I'm a master of nothing.
What do they call it? Jack of all trades, master of none, or spade of none, or whatever. Yeah, that's funny. All right, I got a couple more things, and then if I know this is kind of later in the show, but. This one is about a gentleman by the name of Andrew Tate. Have you heard of him lately?
Sounds familiar, and I'm trying to think of why.
Okay. So basically, Andrew Tate is a gentleman who, over the last 6 months, he quote-unquote, this is his words, not mine, took over the internet. He's kind of like, I guess you would say, a Jake Paul type of individual. He lives in Romania. Kind of giving a backstory. He bought a casino off of a mob dealer, and they became close. And anyway, long story short, he has some very interesting takes, and I would like to give you a take just to kind of see your response. So,
all right, I never heard of the guy.
Yeah, so you never heard of the guy.
I don't know anything about this.
So basically, Andrew Tate, his thought is men are supposed to be superior to females. Okay. And this is it right here. Hold on.
What, are you out of your mind? I mean,
no. So he doesn't care about being canceled because he's like, I'm already rich. I don't care. He's like anything like that. Yeah.
No, I can't answer that shit.
So here's the thing. He said it's a man's duty that the example he used in this interview with Aiden Ross and XQC was, if there's someone to break into your house and you and your wife are sleeping upstairs, you're the one that's supposed to go downstairs and make sure everything's good. Do you agree with that statement?
Jesus Christ. This is the problem with the world, man. I mean, up until what? I don't know, 3-4 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the answer is pretty freaking obvious.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
this world we live in, shit's not so obvious
All right.
anymore, right? But I mean, come on. Yes.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to say it.
All right.
If I'm going to give Jesus Christ.
So he said the same thing, and I don't think that's necessarily an outlandish statement to say, right? Because typically, like, and the whole other argument that the other gentleman XQC was making was, well, what if my girlfriend or wife is a sharpshooter? I would want her to go downstairs. And he's like, I don't give a shit if she was in the army.
Though.
Yeah, he's
so
like,
the statement
he's like,
is
I don't care if she was in the army.
It doesn't mean that there aren't going to be outliers and exceptions.
But he was saying, I don't care if she's in the army or not in the army. Like, if you are the man or the masculine person in the relationship, you should be the one to go down there and investigate. You shouldn't send your army wife or whoever to go down there just because.
But I mean, again, this is the calling out the. There's always exceptions to every rule, right? I mean, everybody can find some nuanced situation where it doesn't make sense with everything, right?
Yeah, there's always loopholes, right?
I mean, right.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I mean, as a general statement, right? The male would do the troubleshooting and I mean, come on.
And then the other thing he said in the interview that XQC couldn't really answer was, I'm trying to think. Oh, he said that women are worse drivers than men. And he said, even with the statistic that men get into more accidents, men still feel, what did he say? More, they're more willing to take more risks. They're more familiar with cars. So they're going to be more risky when driving versus a woman who just gets in an accident because she's just driving regularly.
Well,
See, now I'm kind of putting you into deep waters here when answering this because it's like, you don't want to like I know what he's trying to say.
It's a stereotypical
but I know he's
assumption.
Yeah, like
right?
you're not going to sit there and say every woman on earth is a bad driver, but he's like, if my life was in danger, he's like, I would want a man behind a man to drive me where I have to go. So it's just like, this is someone who obviously doesn't care about being canceled or what in today's age.
I mean, but he's basically saying, it's stereotypical conversations that happen in the day-to-day world even today when the PC police aren't looking over your shoulder. And it's what it is. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's not true. I mean, or it is true. And there aren't great women drivers. I mean, come on. Of course there are, right?
Yeah, of course.
Of course there's police women and all this other stuff who could very easily defend themselves, and God bless them, right? I mean, it's just...
I think, honestly,
like the fact that we're even talking about this on the internet and it was like some big, smoking gun thing. Like, what the hell is this guy talking about? I mean, come on.
Yeah. So after we get off here,
it's like what was the thing that Trump did where they recorded him talking about women in kind of a locker room setting. And I'm like, okay, great. I don't think anybody ever wants that kind of conversation, aired in public. But that shit happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean
it
that's
just does.
I get what
it
you're
doesn't
saying.
mean we're bad people. It's just how the
Maybe
world
it's like
works.
it's like jokes or whatever. But I think I can't really I don't know if it's. I mean, bro, it's like I'm gonna show you a video after we get off of here, and you like when he's saying some of the things, it's like he's actually like a hard believer of these things, and he's like, I'm not a misogynistic. He's like, I made multiple women rich like throughout my entire life. So it's just like, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like you don't know if it's a character, real life.
Well,
I'm sure he's playing
up to the audience, right? He's playing up to this whole PC cancel culture by doing this, right? But it's not a stretch. I mean, I just a couple of things that you said, right, are not. They're just, that's kind of I don't know how to put it. I'm trying to put it without getting
like you said, locker room talk.
It's just, I mean, it doesn't mean it's real. It's kind of the conversation. And come on. If All
right. So I'll show you after here. Two more things I got to touch on.
What's this dude's name again? Andrew Tate?
I'll show you after this. After this, there's the Call of Duty Champs is on. So let's go Optic on that one. The home team there. So rapper Lil Uzi changed. I mean, this was in the news today. Lil Uzi. He's from Philadelphia. You don't know Lil Uzi?
Okay.
Oh God. Okay. All right. Lil Uzi changed his pronouns to they/them. This wasn't necessarily the news topic I was referring to. It just kind of made me remember something. And I went to go see the Thor movie over the weekend.
Well, hang on here with this Little Uzi thing. Is this a real dude? Like, I mean,
Dude, he's like a huge rapper.
Huge rapper? Really?
Huge.
Really?
Like he's
up there with Drake and shit? Come on.
Up there with Drake. He has
Get the
I'm
Little
not kidding.
Uzi?
Lil Uzi Vert.
Oh, God.
So
Holy
Thor,
shit.
I went to go see, and remember a couple weeks ago we talked about Doctor Strange and how they kind of made like that weird thing with the like the two mom thing or whatever.
Yes.
So in the Thor movie, I was watching it and I saw
now
another.
you're self-aware, right? You're thinking about it.
Well,
too
no,
much.
I'm not thinking. I'm genuinely being serious here. They made a stretch of a take, I guess you could say. Like in the movie, they're like, yeah, to make you know the guy, what's his name? Gorg. He's the rock guy.
Yeah.
I think that's his name.
I don't know his name, but yeah.
So on his planet, in order to make babies or whatever, two men give each other a handshake in a rock pit, and then a kid spawns or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was one of those things where it just was unnecessary in the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just
Completely
checking
unnecessary.
boxes. Yeah.
Checking boxes, but on top of that, I'm thinking to myself, wait a second. I'm going to talk about this on the show. Is this just a marketing? Like, are they purposefully doing it badly to make it more talked about? Because the way that it got brought up.
Want my take? It's because
then my
thank
friend.
God this is at the last end because no one will hear it. But I mean,
but then John also gave his take on it, which was they're going to take that out when they sell the movie to China.
Of course,
Because he's like,
or the Middle East.
he said
Absolutely.
because they took out the thing with even the Star Wars movies, Disney.
They're hypocrites.
Yeah.
So here's the deal, right? It's the influence of high level management within Walt Disney and all these movie studios that's insisting that all this crap be put in, and it's
But it was
unnecessary
completely
to the
random.
story.
Yeah,
Right? That's the
completely-
problem.
yeah,
right?
completely
I don't think
unnecessary.
anybody, if it's a whole story around, whatever, a same sex couple, but the
Yeah.
movie's like the premise is somehow wrapped around that. Okay, great.
It
But
literally
when
had
you
nothing to do with
when
it.
you just interject this shit for no reason, and the Doctor Strange thing, right? It wasn't a big deal.
No, it wasn't.
but
That one
there was
was
no
not a
need
big
for
deal.
It just wasn't necessary.
Yeah, and that was the first. This was the first time. Like, I'm not making a big deal. Like, this is not us saying, "Oh, they shouldn't have." Like, it just felt completely
It's checking boxes.
completely out of the blue. And that's not saying that we're bad guys, we're bad people, anything like that. Like, we obviously
Sure, you are. You're talking about yeah.
But
You,
yeah,
you suck, right?
yeah, I'm terrible.
You can't talk
Anyway,
about it.
man.
As soon as you talk about it, as soon as you say anything, you're the bad guy.
For sure.
But,
Yeah,
no, I get your
it was
point. So, I mean,
completely.
it was just it didn't really
To a
add
point
any
where-
value to the actual. It wasn't. It just wasn't necessary
Yeah.
for the storyline.
And this goes back to the whole, even I guess, overall Marvel thing. I mean, Doctor Strange was, I mean, you've seen it, not the best
No, it
movie
was
of
probably one of
the
the-
worst ones, right?
Well, so
Thor
I
wasn't
read,
as terrible. It
I
wasn't
read
as bad.
someplace that the big issue is like, I guess they're calling this what Marvel Fort or
Phase 4.
Phase 4, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know what the hell happened with Phase 1, 2, and 3, but the whole
3
thing
was
was
Endgame. That
Yeah,
was
but I
the
mean, if
Endgame.
you think about like. Even from like the early Iron Man movies and Captain America
Fabulous,
movies and Avengers,
fantastic.
right? But everything built like there
Oh,
was
yeah.
the whole thing just constantly built. They go, these Phase 4 movies are just all over the freaking place. And
I
you're
agree.
like, what is the end game here? Now they're all kind of standalone films without this interweaving of characters, and it just is. I mean, I don't plan on going to see the Thor movie until it hits Disney Plus, right? I
So
mean,
the Thor movie
and for me,
was-
that is just off the charts bad. I mean, if anybody's listening and cares, right? I mean, the fact that I am not rushing out to see a Marvel movie in the films is telling you where this whole thing's going, because I could care less about seeing Thor.
Yeah, the Thor movie was all right. I mean, like I said, it wasn't as bad as Doctor Strange. It just it was all right. That's kind of the end of it. And like you said, there's no real build up. I feel like Iron Man, fantastic from front to back. I mean, with the given exception of Iron Man 3, I know that one got a lot of backlash, but even still, I really enjoyed Iron Man 3. There was a lot of build up. Even with the Spider-Man movies, I guess you could say that's a Phase 4 movie. That still has
well,
great.
that one was good.
That still has great build up, regardless of like 1, 2, and 3.
But that was kind of pulling in a lot of
The older stuff,
Infinity
right?
War stuff.
Thor was also in the earlier thing, but now that I don't know if it's because they have like a new movie studio or a new movie head or whoever, it's under Disney, whatever the situation is, It just doesn't feel right. I'm excited to see though the Black Panther movie, the Wakanda Forever. That one will be interesting to see because Chadwick Boseman's obviously
not in it.
He's yeah. I don't know how that's gonna play out, but I'm very interested to see that. And Deadpool.
I mean, they haven't even started to film that yet, have they? I mean,
no, I think so. Yeah, there's already there was a in the credits. I think there was a thing for it. I don't know. I remember seeing the logo somewhere, so they must have had to start it, right?
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, right now, honestly, the best superhero movie I've seen lately was The Batman with Robert Pattinson. That one was fantastic. I really enjoyed that.
Top Gun.
Yeah, Top Gun was good, but that wasn't the superhero movie.
Yeah. You sure about that? I mean, so here's my thing with Top Gun. Top Gun was so the first like 80% of the movie was freaking fabulous, and that ending was just so like what the? It was just so like.
What, you thought it was corny?
Oh my god, it was ridiculous.
I thought it was dope. Man.
I mean, it was.
I really liked
seriously,
it.
Everything was kind of legit. Even the training, they're never gonna. No one's ever gonna come from a complete vertical climb in between two planes, right? But at least you could sit there and go, okay, that's real, man. They probably did that, right?
Yeah.
But
that movie was dope. I don't care,
man.
Man.
Ending, and it's like, okay, so he gets blown out of the sky. He doesn't die. He's fine, right? The other guy comes back for him. He gets blown out of the sky and crashes. The two of them walk hundreds and hundreds of miles to this base, right? Jumping an F-16 and then outflank two Gen 5 fighters. Not happening ever in any real world, right?
Hey,
and
man.
I get it's a movie.
That's
but
the beauty of the movies, man.
And then they come back to the aircraft carrier and land as if
no
like,
landing
okay,
gear, yeah.
no big deal.
No, that was I don't know. I really enjoyed that movie, man.
Like
it
the
was
time frame was just completely like crunched.
It was one of those movies where, regardless of realistic, like I guess you could say it was realistic to a certain point, but it was just like one of those like kind of like feel good movies. I guess you could say.
Absolutely. Look, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm complaining about the ending, but the freaking film was fabulous. Right? It was so
really
much
good.
fun.
I agree. And what's if I'm not mistaken, he's working on a what is that? Mission Impossible. Another one.
So I mean, it's going to be
two more.
Yeah. So
part one and part two.
Part
right,
one and
yeah,
part
yeah,
two.
Okay.
So they're filming it together. That's the new thing, right? To really maximize dollars and stuff.
Yeah. Besides, making it a TV show, right? I mean, that's kind of like the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's my whole thing. Last thing on my agenda here, for my list is iOS 16. I mean, I don't really have too much to say of it. Obviously, you're a big Apple guy.
Yeah, but I never do the betas. I mean, I know it's just one the public beta and stuff like that. So I used to be a beta guy, but not anymore. So I just pretty much wait until it's released.
Dude, and my phone, I have the 12 Pro. It's a great phone, not the newest one, but the second to newest one. And this thing has so many damn problems with my cable for the battery, the charger. It's just loose. You can't charge it with a wire. I have to have it on my magnetic, the mag one. So I'm going to have to take it to Apple. And then on top of that, the battery.
You got Apple Care?
I do.
Oh, well then.
Yeah. It's just a matter of going in and doing it. I just haven't been able to go up to King of Prussia lately. The second thing is the battery, the charge life on this thing is trash. Like, I just been open. I have my notes open, and since I've been here, it was on 100%. Now I'm already down to 84 just by keeping my notes open. Like, I'm not even doing anything.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right. But I mean, the cool thing is you can get them to do that too. They'll swap the battery.
Yeah, I need to take it to them and figure it out. But iOS 16, they have smart lock screen. Basically, you could if you have like a lock screen picture, like the time and the whole customization for the lock screens upgraded. Smart clip mask, which is awesome. Like for the Photoshop guys or anyone that does any sort of photo editing, if you take a picture of something, let's call it like a water bottle or something into frame, and you kind of have like a seamless background, you could touch the water bottle and it masks everything behind the water bottle out of the frame, and it turns it into like a PNG. So everything will be out of the frame, just the water bottle will be there. Pretty dope stuff. And you could do that within like a matter of seconds. You literally touch it and it does it. It's actually crazy how they did that. They refined a lot of things for notifications, such as like your music and your timer. Like before, you would have music playing and it would be like a huge box that would take up maybe like, I don't know, 1/3 of the screen. Now it's just a little bar at the bottom. And then they have the haptic keyboard, which is like interactive. Kind of like, I know that Android had that for a long time, but...
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
I think the cool thing was they've got the you can use your iPhone as a camera.
I was just about to say that. So,
which is pretty slick.
As you guys know, like if you guys have iPhones compared to the MacBooks, the iPhone camera is one of the better cameras on the
Oh, yeah,
market.
it's freaking
It's really
sweet.
really good.
Yeah.
But the MacBook, they've always been lacking.
Crappy.
Terrible. It's like
Yeah,
what is it?
720p,
720p in 2021 or 2022. It's terrible. Now you could with this little clip, you could attach it to the top of your MacBook and use that as the camera, like Joe said. And on top of that, for the guys who do like I don't know, like hand POV type of stuff or whatever, like I don't know, building, let's say Legos or something on your
Yeah, you
counter.
can focus in on your.
Yeah,
you can
it's the
use
same-
the zoom and stuff like that.
It's the same technology that
it should be pretty
like
cool.
like a car. You know how like when you're backing out of a car, it has like that top down view. Obviously,
Yeah,
there's not
yeah,
a
yeah,
camera
yeah,
up
yeah.
there. It's just the
It's stitching it all. Yeah.
stitching it all together, so you could have like this really cool seamless like video camera from above, which is super dope. And the last thing. Oh, wait, no, that was the last thing. Sorry. Yeah, that's about it. That's just like some of the highlights. Obviously, there's a lot more edit and unsend text messages, everything like that. But that was just kind of like the highlights and key points there.
Apple rules.
Apple is dope, man. I really do like Apple. And another company is I like a lot lately, Razer. Razer's super dope.
I hate Razer.
Do you really? Why?
Well, they don't support Apple.
Really?
They killed Apple support years ago, and so F them, right? So I haven't
Yeah.
bought I used to buy Razer exclusively, like, and so now I think, what do I? Well,
Corsair?
no, actually, I'm using Logitech now.
Logitech.
I was using SteelSeries for a while, but
Okay.
I don't know. I'm using Logitech, and I really like their products. And the
You
nice
don't
thing
or
about it
do?
is Logitech, is always going to support Apple. So
Yeah, yeah. The only reason I said Razer, obviously, like I said, I have a PC, but
yeah, their shit's cool. But I mean, it's
dude,
just
and on Prime Day, I ordered a mouse and it came the same day within
Oh, yeah,
3
I love
hours
that
or
shit.
something. I was like, bro, this is crazy. I mean, soon, like, I don't know, only in the future time will tell, but maybe you could get it in 15 minutes with that drone stuff that they were talking about a few years ago.
yeah, it's coming.
I know.
I don't doubt it. It's coming.
I can't wait. But yeah, that was super cool. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But I don't have any thoughts. Do you have any closing out points? I'm sorry, I took away from. I know you said you had a lot to talk about.
I always say I have a lot, and then I have nothing to talk about, right? So it's all good. I saw a news report that said that people under 40 should not drink alcohol, and I started laughing because you read it and it's just like, it's not good for you. And I'm
shouldn't
like,
do a lot of
you
things.
Think?
Yeah,
I mean,
you
like,
shouldn't do a lot of things.
there really wasn't much behind it, to be honest with you. It was just
Yeah.
kind of stupid.
It's actually funny you say that. You know what I was watching a YouTube video and I forget the gentleman that said it, but it was like certain foods are banned off like the FDA list. Like what are they called?
Skittles.
Is it Skittles?
I saw that was another thing I saw that said like Skittles has absolutely no human consumption value at all.
So like
none.
you
It's
can't
like-
eat Skittles, but you're allowed to smoke a cigarette, which is FDA approved.
Wow.
It's like how the hell is
I'll
this
tell
allowed?
you exactly how it happens. It's a multi-billion-dollar
Okay.
industry. That's how it happens.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, hey
There's-
man,
it's a huge tax base.
yeah, that's effed up. I mean, even bro, they
Yeah,
should
here
just
it
keep
is.
raising the price of cigarettes because right now I went to the store and they were like $9 or something. Just keep raising them.
Yeah, lawsuit claims that Skittles are unfit for human consumption.
Yeah, I mean,
They contain a known toxin.
yeah, they just brought back the lime flavor. So the Skittles.
Oh God! So it's just they have high levels of titanium dioxide, which it's like okay, whatever.
Yeah, hey man.
Like Skittles is going to kill you. Like you didn't know that already. Like come on.
Yeah, I mean, you're not supposed to do a lot of things. I mean,
Drink water.
sure, coffee.
Water.
I mean,
sorry,
coffee.
Water. Not,
Coffee, caffeine. That's like the number one.
yeah,
drug
Drink
or
natural
something.
shit. Yeah.
So whatever.
I had so much coffee yesterday, and I've had 2 glasses this morning, so I'm kind of bouncing off the wall. So this episode is brought to you by Nespresso Virtu. It's not actually, but if your guys are listening, we love
Holy
your
shit.
coffee.
We should send this to them.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, we should.
We
I was
could-
thinking about buying an espresso. I saw it on Prime Day. It was on sale.
Like $150, I saw it.
Yeah. I don't know if it comes with
The frother.
the
Oh,
frother.
yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. And their coffee's actually fantastic. I really do enjoy it every time I come here. You always got the coffee on deck. So
Yeah, it's quick and dirty. Quick. That's the biggest
Yeah.
thing, right? It's just drop a pod, boom, off and running.
and then like all the not the millionaires, all the billionaires that I like watch, like Mark Cuban or what's the other guy, Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank. They're like the biggest waste of money is coffee. Like going out and it has the biggest
dollar, margin.
Margin,
No
right?
shit, yeah.
Because like you'll buy a $5 cup of coffee when it's literal cents. So.
Oh, there is one last thing just to close this out. So I saw that Yeezy, has trademarked a name for retail stores.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That'd be cool.
It's like Yeezy Sneezy or something. I forget what it was called. Yeezy.
Store?
Shit, I don't remember. I should have wrote it down, but I did see that.
That'd be pretty cool to see.
They just trademarked it, and supposedly, I guess, storefronts, and in the description of the trademark request, it was talking about basically just selling all the clothing and household items and everything you would think from a.
He went on Joe Rogan 2 years ago and talked about the foam runners, the ones. Do you have them? You have the foam runners.
They're in the box.
Okay.
Probably, yeah.
He wanted to reduce the price because the cost to make those are really low because it's all foam. And he was like, "Yeah, I want to make these one day like $25." So
yeah,
if he could incorporate those into the store, I mean, I'll be the first one in line.
Yeah, and
man.
he wants to sell it for $25 and he's still making money. So when he's charging $80 for them or $90 now, or whatever.
I mean, that's not even
that.
that bad. I mean, that's pretty good for a shoe nowadays, don't you think?
Well, I mean, what are those other ones?
Air Forces?
No, the original kind of foam runners, the Crocs.
Oh, Crocs. Crocs are going for that much nowadays?
They're cheap as shit, aren't they? Like $30 or something. I haven't looked,
maybe.
But
yeah. I still want a pair of foam runners. So
yeah, the crazy thing is he hasn't had anything up in months. It seems like I can't remember the last time they had anything that wasn't like one of the 700s that no one wants. But
yeah, I haven't really been on the shopping thing lately with clothes. I just haven't really needed it. I mean, I'm gonna have to shop soon and probably go to Men's Warehouse. Get some nice.
You need a suit and tie.
Maybe get snazzy. Not necessarily a suit and tie.
They don't make you wear that shit. I mean, in this day and age, I can't imagine. I don't know what you wear.
It's all dress casual. And the only thing is, they said no sneakers, which I was kind of like, I get it, no for business casual, but at the same time, like
you can't even tell some of the sneakers. Like if I wear my Yeezys, the black,
how would you be able to tell?
Man, they're almost like dress shoes.
Yeah. Do you go to the office? How
don't
often
go to the
office?
I mean, I go into people's offices.
Okay.
And I'll just I'll wear khakis and a polo shirt or a dress shirt.
Would you say like under 12 or 20 times a year?
No, I mean I do a lot of it, but I mean pre-COVID, it was all going to people's offices, but and it's just business casual. Everybody is business casual. I can't tell you. I mean, the last time I wore a suit, I don't even know. And last time I wore a tie was probably 2007.
A tie? You're not a tie guy?
No, I mean there's no reason to.
Fair. I mean, I don't know. I feel like
I don't even wear a tie. The last couple times I've interviewed, I didn't wear a tie.
Really?
No.
My whole thing with ties is like I feel like they're just like synonymous with suits. So like if you're wearing a suit, tie.
Yeah, not even. I mean, a lot of people don't even wear ties with suits anymore.
The more you know.
I mean, I've definitely worn suits, but I have not worn ties, even when I was wearing the suits.
Well, the more you know. That's about it.
All right, man. So I'm going to. You'll notice that on this particular episode, it will be the first time that we're cutting the outro song. So. We got some grief that
grief by me.
Yeah,
no, my whole
people
thing with
were
that
listening to that last 2 minutes, and it was causing problems with the feeds on the Apple Podcast, which I get because I mean I do it all the time.
Yeah,
right?
If you listen to a podcast at the end, you just kind of want the next one,
and it goes to the next one. So
maybe we'll have like a 10-second clip or something. I don't know. Whatever you decide to do, you could figure it out, or
we'll see
cut
how it goes.
Yeah,
I mean,
let me know.
You got any feedback? Send us an email at team@exmnds.com.
Brought to you by team@exmnds.
And believe it or not, Exclusive Minds is still around. We just seem to suck at clothing.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to do some. We were talking about tie dyes too.
I think our thing has become hoodies, and it's like a fall and winter thing.
I love hoodies, bro.
I know. So
hoodies are so dope.
Because I'm thinking to myself, like, that's all we do is freaking hoodies. Bro, we're kind of the hoodie guy now.
Bro, I have a pile of hoodies at my house. I'm not kidding. I'll have to send you a picture of it. It's literally like probably 40 hoodies. I'm not kidding. Maybe more.
$50 a piece is fucking $2,000. It's the $2,000 or something that chose me. Yeah, that's where it all went.
Well, yeah.
I'm wondering why this business isn't making any money. Son of a bitch. It's all on his friggin'.
I love hoodies.
There's a pile on his
I love hoodies because you could see the quality difference between a shitty hoodie versus well put together.
The new
hoodie.
ones still rock.
It's
a shame we really only did we kind of were late to the game on those, but going forward, the hoodies are going to rock, man. So That's our thing. We're hoodies. We're hoodie guys.
We're a hoodie organization nowadays.
I think so. I mean, it's okay. I mean, you kind of get into your niche and you just rock it, right?
Yeah.
So,
all right.
The summer's been kind of sucky for clothes.
I honestly don't even, like, the summer this year has been all humid. It's just feel like there hasn't been any just heat. It's just all humidity.
Yeah.
And I hate that. I walk outside, sweat instantly.
Yes, so summer, man. If you don't like it, go to
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to somewhere west where it's dry heat and
then pay 30% taxes and yeah.
I don't know, my tax
You
that
think your
came out of
taxes
my
are bad now?
I know
Just
that
go
was,
dream
that
the
was
dream.
actually
Live the
insane.
dream, man.
All right, take it easy, everybody.
Later. Peace out.